Alright, so I'll go over what I did to this truck just to document everything. So the air conditioner compressor clutch was seized up, so I had to pull it out, but I don't really use the air conditioning anyway, and I'm kind of used to not having it, so I bought a bypass pulley. So it sits in the same position as the air conditioner, so the pulley is located in the exact same spot. It only uses 2 bolts here, and the 1/3 bolt for the original clutch is unnecessary, so I took it out and set it to the side. This clutch was all seized up, so it was tearing up the belt, which is right here. That's what's left of my belt. In order to get that off, I had to release tension, and found out that the original tensioner, which is right here, was stripped out. And when I tried to release the tension on it after a while, with not quite enough to get the belt off, it started to just spin. So I had to pull that out and replace that also. So I have the bypass pulley here. I have a brand new tensioner, belt tensioner, obviously a brand new belt. When I went to get the new belt, I explained to the guy that I was taking the air conditioning compressor out, and that I had ordered online the bypass pulley. But when he put it into the computer, he put it in as this engine minus air conditioning. So when I got everything in, the belt that he gave me was too short, because he didn't understand that even though I was pulling the air conditioning compressor out, I was replacing it with the bypass pulley. So it's the same belt that would go on even if I had the compressor in the truck. So that was I don't know, it wasn't anybody's fault. I guess he just misunderstood or didn't catch the part that I was replacing the compressor with a bypass pulley. So that was a fiasco, because I had everything situated and could not get that belt on. It was enough to drive me crazy. I almost wrecked the tensioner, this tensioner, trying to get that belt on before I just decided this could not be the right belt, and I was correct. So I replaced the water pump. There's a brand new water pump in here. Took the fan off, took the pulley off, or the idler off, resealed all that, put that back in. You can't see it in here, but I also replaced the thermostat and a new radiator cap. When the belt started to shred up and I was trying to put the new belt on, I took the shroud off, which is sitting up here, and I just threw it in the back of the truck, and I was in a hurry to get somewhere after I finally got the belt on, and tore a hole, the fan, the hose, which this is a new hose also. All this is brand new. The old hose was sitting on top, and the fan ripped a hole in it. So I had to replace this hose as well. So it has a new thermostat in there, new hose, new radiator cap, bypass pulley, tensioner, belt. I got all that back together, only to have to go ahead and take everything back off because power steering pump was bad. That shaft that goes down in there was all busted up. It was leaking out this main seal, power steering fluid all over the inside of the truck. I was unsure what it was at first, whether it was leaking from this seal right here or if it was possibly the high pressure hose. So I went ahead and bought a new high pressure hose and replaced that as well. Down in there, as you can see, it's a freaking nightmare. I had to rent a puller. I'll show you what that puller looks like to get that pulley off. And so when I first got started, I just grabbed this and put it on there, and I actually pushed the pulley on further to where the correct tool wouldn't fit over the pulley to get it off. This is the puller, that's the pusher. And like I said, I was in a hurry and I grabbed the pusher and didn't realize I was pushing the pulley on. And in fact, I probably pushed it on further, about 1/8 of an inch, to where this would not fit over there. So I had to get these pieces situated over the pulley, and then I used a hose clamp to hold it on here to pull that pulley off. So I was able to pull the pulley off. I went ahead and took my alternator off and out of the way. I take this bracket here off. It also has a bolt back here. I got the bracket off and the alternator out of the way, and then the pulley off, and the bolts that hold this power steering pump in are behind the pulley. So you have to take the pulley off. I probably didn't need to take this out of the way, but I just felt it would be easier to just get it out of my way to give myself plenty of room to see. So it was easy. There's only 3 bolts. So you got 1, 2, and then the third one on the back that holds this bracket back here. So I just took that little short screw out, and these 2 long bolts here and here, pulled that over and set it out of the way, and was able to get into the bolts that are all the way down inside there. You can't see them, but there's 3 bolts that hold this on right here, and they go all the way through to this bracket. So I took these 2 bolts off here, here, and up here, and I left the bracket attached to the power steering pump, got it out of there, and then took the bracket off, attached it to the new power steering pump. I attached the high pressure hose to the pump, and then put the pump in, assembled, and then tightened up my fitting down here. And so I did notice that my belt here was riding a little bit on the edge here, so I had to go ahead and put that pusher back on and push this over just a little bit. And in order to do that, I had to release the tension on the belt and take the shroud off again. So this has been a lot of work for me. I have a brand new master cylinder, brand new power steering pump, brand new tensioner, brand new bypass pulley, brand new hose, brand new water pump, brand new thermostat, and a brand new radiator cap in this thing. So I'm going to move this out of the way and fire it up and just make sure that all of this is lined up now that I went ahead and pushed it back a little bit further. I did take a straight edge and put it across this pulley, and it seemed like it was touching the main pulley down there, which is what you want to do, is just make sure all of these pulleys are lined up. So you take a straight edge and lay it across one pulley and just see if it should be just touching another pulley, so that everything's in line. And it seemed like it was, but I was working at night. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning by the time I got the belt on and all of this installed. But then again, like I said, I noticed that the belt was riding. It's a brand new belt, and I don't even want to take a chance of tearing that up. So I went ahead and took everything back off, and this morning is when I worked on getting this fitting down in here, right there. That fitting was a bitch to get to and make sure that thing seats right. I had to buy a special wrench to put that in, because it's very easy to cross thread those things, and once you do that, that's it, it's done. Worse than that is it could get it stuck in there or break the tubing and I have to go back and get another one. So I had to do that today here, and while I can see what I'm doing and take my time on that. I spilled power steering fluid when I was filling it, so it's not leaking as far as I know. It just has a little bit of residue on there, and plus there's probably a lot of residue from me working on it all over the engine that's going to want to burn off. So right now I'm going to go ahead and get in here and crank her up and see what happens. I'm going to be looking for leaks. I'm going to be looking to make sure my belts are all lining up, everything's going properly. This hose seems to be up a little higher, so I don't think I'll risk damaging the hose like I did on the last hose. The old other hose was a little bit different configuration, and it was hanging down much lower like this. So this one's plenty out of the way. I don't think I'll have any issues with that hitting the fan and wrecking this. I do notice a little bit of kink in this thing. Like I said, it's a little bit of a different configuration, but the model number matches up for this truck, so it fits properly, but it seems a little odd that it's kind of kinked here a bit. I may have to shorten that or something. We'll see. I'll give it some time. Once this heats up a few times over a few weeks of driving, it'll be a little more pliable, and maybe I can cut that off and shorten that a little bit, but I may just leave it. So we're going to jump in here, start it up, and we're going to be looking for leaks, making sure everything's lined up, most especially with the new water pump, thermostat, and radiator cap. I'm going to be looking to make sure that the engine temp doesn't climb. So here we go. Cranks right up. The engine's solid on this truck. And it appears that that belt is climbing a little bit. I'm going to have to push that pulley on a little bit further. It's wanting to climb a little bit. I can see that. It's climbing? That's not good. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. I don't see any leaks or bubbling out of the power steering system. No leaks on the back, nothing bubbling out of here. That's good. No leaks in my thermostat. See what the engine temp looks like here. We'll let it run for a few seconds and watch that temperature. Well, actually, I need to push that pulley back, so I don't want to wreck that belt. It's climbing a little bit, so I need to push the pulley back just a little more. I'll go ahead and turn it off. No use letting it run just to check the engine temperature when I could potentially damage this belt. It does look like it's seated, but when it's running, it seems like it's wanting to walk up off of the pulley a little bit. So I need to push that pulley back just a little bit further. And then putting everything back on and closing her all up. But this has been a real bitch. But I just wanted to document what I did, so if I do sell this truck, they'll know that it has all this new equipment on it.